Welcome back, everyone. Now, to say our next guest is a self-made man would be a bit of an understatement. His backstory reads more like a screenplay. Failing to pass high school exams, he never went to college. In fact, he was held back twice in grade school, leading one teacher to tell him, "You'll never amount to much." We'll be asking him what he'd like to say to that teacher in just a minute. It was his first break as a lighting guy for a rock show production company that literally changed his life. Today, he owns and runs a billion-dollar empire. So we welcome the co-founder and CEO of APR Energy, John Campion. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we'd like you to pick up the rest of this story. Tell us about this teacher. Was that in Jacksonville?
No. I'm from Ireland. So
the accent.
Exactly, the accent. So I came to America June 6, 1984. I arrived in Los Angeles, California with $26.
Wow.
That's terrifying.
Did you have a plan B?
I had absolutely no plan.
No plan B.
No return ticket, no plan B. Burn the bridges,
Talk
burn
about
the ships.
faith.
There you go. So I convinced this rock and roll lighting company to give me a job. So I was the fifth man on a four-man lighting crew, which pretty much means I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm on the road with Motley Crue and Van Halen, all these people in the 80s.
I was going to say 80s
That
band.
is awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You got my attention now.
Exactly. So I was on the road with these guys and did that for a number of years. And you go into Jacksonville, the arena, and there wouldn't be enough power for the lighting system and all the rest of that. So the local promoter would hire a company who would show up with a generator on the back of a truck. Might work, mightn't work. So the customer expectation wasn't very high. So I said there's a better way to do that. So I started a company called Show Power, supplying power generation to the rock and roll industry. And that, through a whole series of events, that became a very successful business. I took that company public in 1998 in the American Stock Exchange. I subsequently sold it to General Electric.
Oh, wow.
Oh, geez.
Worked for GE for a while, built up a business for them to a couple of $100 million, left there, went to work for a French company, bought the French company, turned it into another company, arrived in Jacksonville, Florida, and kind of there you go.
Oh,
my God.
And he started out with 26 bucks in his pocket.
Okay, so
Insane.
on that note, okay, so the teacher that made the mistake of telling you what he or she told you, what he told you, do you still keep in contact with that person?
Fortunately or unfortunately, no.
Okay.
But
So if he was listening today.
well, look, to be very frank, you could sit here and you could talk about teachers not doing the job, but maybe that teacher knew more than I did. Maybe that teacher realized I needed a swift kick in the butt to get me motivated. So maybe that teacher wasn't actually putting me down. Maybe that teacher was giving me a help up. So that's kind of the way I look at it, because you got to be positive about these
glass
things.
half full.
So look, I carried that chip on my shoulder for a very long time, and ultimately I came to the realization that it's up to us to make our own destiny. Look, I'm very blessed.
true.
I came to America with nothing, and I've been, relatively successful. And I think that your success is dependent upon a little bit of luck, but if you don't work hard, it's just luck. You have to double down on the luck by working hard.
So were you that kid who was unmotivated, and what was the switch? Like, what happened where you were like, you know what, I can build a company and end up selling it to GE?
Well, I wasn't particularly good in school. I was kept back a couple of years. I was kept back in 5th grade and the equivalent of 9th grade. I think they call it ADHD now, and they call it dyslexia, and they call it all these other things. Back then you were just dumb and stupid, right? So look, Ireland was a very interesting insular society back in the 70s and 80s, and if you weren't successful or you had the stigma of being held back, that wasn't something that was pretty good. So I left the country and I came to America. And the great thing about America, especially in the 80s and still today, is you are what you say you are, and you can do what you say you will do. So people give you that break. You can show up and say, let me do this. And if you can do it, you will be successul, I think, and that's my experience.
Love that.
Well, talking about being successful, I want to know how much power it actually takes to run a rock show.
Great question. So listen, here's a funny sort of story for you. I was with Michael Jackson, and we were in Barcelona on the Bad Tour.
Like the Michael Jackson?
Yeah, Michael.
Oh my God.
Bad tour,
Like
yes.
Beat It, Michael Jackson?
Holy
Like
cow.
Michael gave me my first $100,000 to start my first business. Michael Jackson.
No way! Oh my God, you heard it here first, people.
So
My God.
Nice.
that's so, but a story. Yes, but Michael
You
Jackson.
know Bubbles?
Bubbles wasn't so much around.
Okay.
So that was kind of
That
before
was
the
the
Bad
90s,
Tour.
wasn't it?
No. Bubbles was Bubbles was the early 80s and the mid 80s. I was with Michael in 87 and 88, the Bad Tour. In any event, yes, Michael gave me $100,000 to build my first machines.
Oh, wow.
So, bit of a story there, but look, I worked with a lot of interesting people, and it was a lot of fun. And again, So the Michael Jackson story really, really fast. So we're in Australia, and we were there, and I was a lighting guy, and there was a bit of a power problem, and I was sort of solving it. I was being a bit of a MacGyver, lots of electrical tape and sort of hooking things together and trying to make it work. At the end of the first show in Melbourne, Australia, Michael called me to the dressing room. So it was Michael Jackson himself, Benny Collins, the production manager, and Frank DeLeo, Michael's manager, and a fellow called Sal Bonafetti, who was the agent. So interesting group of individuals. And Michael was very concerned about the summer tour that was coming up in Europe in the summer of '88 and what they could do. I'm 23 years old, so I go, here's what we'll do. We'll do
Because you have all the answers at 23.
absolutely. So they said, okay, what do you need? And I said, gives $100 grand. And so literally, Michael Jackson's management wired me $100,000 on the faith that I could do what I said I would do, and I built these generators.
Were you dying, though, at that moment, going, I hope I can pull this off?
I was too stupid to be dying. Come on.
Oh, my goodness.
Michael Jackson just gave me $100 grand. Well, his management did. There was strings attached. But suffice to say is that, look, I took a chance. I seized the opportunity, a little bit of luck involved in it, and built some power generation. And we went from Michael Jackson to U2, Rolling Stones, Michael Jackson again, Madonna, Pink Floyd, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards.
Oh my gosh, these are all the people that I loved growing up.
Oh my goodness.
What was the biggest show that you put on? The biggest?
Oh Lord.
Best?
Oh, all sorts of things. Did the 20th anniversary of Woodstock, did the 25th anniversary of Woodstock, supplied all the power for the handover ceremonies for Hong Kong, supplied the power generation, bizarre as it may seem, an Irish guy for Princess Diane's funeral.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a little,
Really?
That's kind of a big deal.
yeah, so did a lot of things. Did numerous inaugurations, supplied the power for the Olympics in Sydney, Australia, supplied a lot of power for the Olympics opening and closing in Atlanta, Georgia. So just a lot of big, silly stuff.
What is the average cost for putting on a show like that?
For power generation?
Yeah.
Well, so, revert back to the question. You said how much power is used in a rock show.
Yeah, like electric bill.
Exactly.
Thinking.
Let's slip back to that one. So you said how much power is used in a rock show. So Michael Jackson had a camera crew everywhere. And he used to always do these NBC primetime specials. So the camera crew was in Barcelona, and the camera crew comes up to me and says, how much power is this? And I thought they were just joking around. So I says, I don't know, 1.2 megawatt, blah, 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 blah. And the guy says, how much power really is that? And I said, about enough power for about 10,000 of John Bon Jovi's hair dryers. Yeah, wasn't so good. This is when John had the big hair. Not so good, given the fact he was a client.
Oh.
So I had to fly to New Jersey and apologize, but that's okay.
Oh, geez.
We ended up doing a lot more business with John Bon Jovi over the time.
Stories.
But
Oh my God.
long story short, probably enough power for 300 or 400 houses. It's a lot of electricity.
That is a ton of electricity. Can you stick around? Because we would love to have you around
absolutely.
after the break. Okay, stay with us, everyone, because after this, we're going to talk fast cars and a huge donation that John just made to the University of North Florida. Stay with us.